Hi, welcome to the Art of Transformation. I'm your host, Mark Sheff. Today, I had a great conversation with Sairan Aqrawi. Sairan came to the US from Iraq in her 20s. I met her husband on the base where she landed, went on to have two kids and a brilliant career as an engineer. She's also transitioned to a coach. She's done a lot of transition coaching and leadership coaching for women. And the thing that really sparked my interest in the conversation that you're about to listen to is the way she talks about how to find that hidden gem. We all live these lives that we're expected to live or that we feel like we have to live. And finding that hidden gem can be the key to happiness and fulfillment. So have a listen, and I'll see you on the other side. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Art of Transformation. I'm your host, Mark Sheff. I'm here with Sairan Aqrawi. Welcome.
Thank you, Mark, for having me.
It's a pleasure. I had a nice time talking to you before the show. So why don't you just give our audience like a minute or two, kind of, who are you? What do you do? What do you love?
Thank you. So basically, my day job is I'm an engineer with the authority, Metro Authority. I've been an engineer for over 30 years. I graduated my bachelor civil and my master system integration. And while I was doing my doctorate in engineering here in DC, I had an opportunity to speak with a group of younger women who's doing their engineering classes. Mm-hmm. And I fell in love with the mentoring and coaching. And I put my doctorate aside. I joined ICF and have become a coach, and I never looked back.
You've done a lot of different kinds of coaching. But what you told me before, you've done leadership coaching and business coaching, international transition coaching, all kinds.
Yes, I start with the one niche because what's happened when I was speaking one of the platform in Illinois, they asked me if I want to be willing to participate in a chapter book and talk about the truth about the American dream. So we were like 22 coaches. So we all participate in one chapter. So my chapter called The Truth About the American Dream. So my mentor said, we love your story. I mean, you could help a lot of women who move internationally to feel the American dream, get rid of those obstacles, the blocks, the culture shock, the languages barrier, and you can help them around that area. So I was a transition expert for a while. I have a full-blown, website and all of that, logo and all of that. But then I decided to pivot last year on September 1st, and I shut down that platform. Now I'm a business coach for midlife women. Although I say midlife women, I still get clients who are guys. And most of them are the one who want to be certified in ICF because I'm a mentor coach, so I'm an ACC.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, and also for those women, I get different kind of like age span. Some of them are young. They still looking for advancing in their engineering. And beside doing their engineering, they want to have something small aside, like a small business, thrive somewhere. So what I do, I help them to start something small in Instagram. We together go through a 1 month discovery call, building their foundation. Here I am using engineering term again, even though talking about coaching. And that will help them to gain clarity, because when they come with a lot of things in their mind, I keep telling them, you are still not clear what you want. You need that clarity, because if you are not clear, we can focus. You need to be clear what you exactly want. And some of them are like me, and they're 50, and they are thinking how to exit their daytime, what to start and aside. Some of them, they come up with all complaint, whining. I hate my job. My boss don't love me. I don't like the environment. What I do, I try to tell them, let's keep your job. Let's start something simple and small. Tell me what exactly is your talent or hobby, or that's one thing you really do so well. We can open an Instagram. In that case, you feel like a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. So you're going to stop talking about your boss not liking you, right? Because you're going to look for the weekend for that networking event, for that speaking gig, because now not only you are an employee, you are a businesswoman or businessman. And I feel, Mark, what it is a lot of clients, and you are a coach, you know that very well. They come to you not because they are totally lost. I think they come to coaches for guidance because they have no sense of belonging. They don't feel that impact. They
Mm.
feel they got everything. They have the job, 6-figure, $2 million house, the best wife, the best husband, kids are A student, right? But they don't have that joy. And
Mm.
they ask you, I don't know what it is. I have everything, but I don't have joy. I don't know what's going on. So when I keep asking them question, as you know, you are a coach, we peel that onions, we go deep down, what's going
That's right.
on? Then I feel, yes, you do have something hidden. It's just being buried. You've been hiding that hidden gem. It's not into the surface yet. Yeah.
There's so much you touched on there. I feel like we have 4 podcasts in just what you said. First of all, getting people connected to, what is that hidden gem. I really like that metaphor. And actually, if you don't mind showing your gem, you
My
just showed it
business
to me.
card. Yes, my business card. It's I thought about it, and coach, we talk, IQ, EQ, so emotional intelligence. And
Uh-huh.
as you know, a lot of business card, it's a card that you toss after the event. With all respect, I do keep some business card. I mean,
Sure, you
I
don't
gotta
have to
keep some
qualify.
business
I
card,
get
right?
it. We all get
Yeah.
it.
Yes. So what I did, I thought about it, and because of my Instagram, all my messages end normally with the emoji of gem. So I have the business card. It's like a hidden gem. So I order these. It's 2 inch. It's not big. It's a 2 inch. So you see, it's only 2 inch. And what I did, I ordered these from Amazon, and I asked them to type my name and last name. So I take these mostly for the speaking gig here in the DMV area. And I give each one of those audience one of these. And I tell them, don't, don't hire me. Don't contact me yet. I want one thing from you. Go home, connect with me in LinkedIn, see what I am capable to do, look at my Instagram, then peel my name. Just peel that name and throw it. Then keep this beside your computer. Every time you look at this, ask yourself, what is my hidden gem? Have I discovered it yet? We all have it, Mark. We all have it. There is no way anyone in the world don't have a hidden gem. Either that hidden gem is asleep or being buried for some reason. And I tell them, look at it, discover it, then you can contact me.
That's brilliant. It's also a brilliant marketing technique to give someone something that they actually like and will like to look at. So every
Yes.
time, obviously, every time they look at it,
Yes.
they think of you. I was sending folks fridge magnets for a little while and other things like that. But I love this. I love this idea of a hidden gem. I don't know exactly what language I might use around that, but we're really talking about, and I see this with people. I work with a lot of midlife people as well. And, the thing that I think I hear in one form or another is, my life is fine. Maybe money's fine, relationships, everything's fine. Kids are fine. No kids are fine. But I don't want to just live this fine life for the next 30 years. We hit midlife. There is a brain development that starts to happen with the white matter in your brain connecting different ideas that starts to happen in your 40s. And we encounter what I call a midlife catharsis. We have this moment where we realize that we could actually plan out the next 30 years, and to think about spending the next 30 years exactly the way I've spent the last 5 or 10 is depressing, right? Like I want to have a more vibrant life, not necessarily bigger. I don't necessarily need to go, create some giant thing and, be Tim Robbins or whatever. But I do want to feel more meaning in my life, and I want to feel connected to that. So when you say hidden gem, I think about that, and I hear things like, like purpose or fulfillment, and, how can I create something like that in my life? So with all of that, right? I mean, our lives are busy. You work with women. I know that you work with folks who are busy or are leaders or midlife. They have maybe they have families. They have responsibilities. One thing I know is that people don't have is a lot of time. So what are some of the what would you say, like, what are some of the major frustrations for people who, come and work with you?
I sense that most of the client who they seek guidance and coaching midlife or even younger, they have everything available to them, but it has no value. And I'll explain what I mean. Everything you need now is available. Technology, AI, everything is around you. And we stop creating. We stop the art in our thinking. We stop creation. We stop doing innovation. There is no innovation anymore. Everything becomes copy paste. Everything becomes, ChatGPT, AI. I copy that picture. I do that pause. I look like this artist. I look at the same clothes brand, whoever is wearing an Instagram that's look nice on me. We stop being unique in our footprint. And that's very dangerous because then now, as you see all the coaches, with all respect, most of them are copy-paste. They look as another coach as a role model, and they try to mimic that coach, and they lose the identity. So in return, to answer your question, we lose the soul. Our soul get lost. So I'm trying to be Mark. Mark trying to be somebody else. It's okay if I admire your work, but I can present that work in my own style. I have innovation. Why I'm copying exactly what you're doing? It's just the frustration come from comparison. They compare with other people in the same industry. I can give you an example. Those tech women, they come to me, they said, I'm 35, I'm still not a manager, I'm still not a chief. Okay, why you think when you are 35, you have to be a manager? Which books say that? I don't know, but I'm 35. Okay, what, 35 old? Yes, I'm old. Which book said 35 is old? From where those terminology coming? Are you creating your own book or dictionary or something that I'm not aware of? Same thing with women. They come to me in their 50 and said, I'm in mid-age crisis, or I'm menopause. All these negative connotation. And as a coach, you know that very well. You are a coach yourself. We try to tweak the word to give a positive impact. Stop saying I'm old because I'm 50. Okay, which book said that you are too old to open a business when you are 50? Show me that book because I haven't read that book. And I read a lot of books. Which book said you are 50 and you cannot open? Which book said you are old to be an artist if you are 60?
I mean, speaking of books and artists, I mean, many of the most famous writers, especially, published their first anything after 50.
Yes, and Robert Greene always talk about it in his mastery book. He said he didn't know his niche and his mastery. He was like in his late 30s, and that's Robert Greene. I mean, who are you talking about? Jack Canfield, Robert Greene, all of them. They took a couple of paths until they find out what is really their mastery or what is their hidden gem or their exact niche. So when those clients, to go back to your question, those clients come there all over the place. I have women come to me, they're 35, they want to be a chief engineer, they want to get pregnant, they want to travel with the husband, they want to have, plastic surgery, they want to be with your friend. Okay, you already said 9 things in a time. What's going on here? Well, I want to do everything. Fine, but what is your priority? Okay, you can be a manager in your 40, but can you get pregnant when you are 50? No, then what is more important? So gain clarity. And what I tell them, without clarity, don't even dial my number. Because when you come to me, I don't want you to vent for the rest of the 1 hour when I start talking with you. I want you to be clear. What are you exactly looking for? What is the end result you want to accomplish with my coaching? I don't want you to come to the session just venting that your husband is not helping you around the house. Which kind of a problem that? I'm not your friend. We are not chatting here. This is a coaching session.
Yeah, I think something I forget where I read this recently. It might have been in Karen Davis and her husband's book, How to Get the Most Out of Coaching. It might have been in that book. And she says in the book that, therapy is about, I forget exactly the words, but, therapy is about, healing, and coaching is about discovery. Coaching is about, let's get a sense of the pressures and the obstacles and where you are in your life. Like what are the things that are, keeping you where you are now. So this is why I like that hidden gem thing, because, what it is you're not, I see, as you do, you see all these people out there, I'll help you 10x your, and that's great. And that's great. And if you're in that right position, that's great. Yes. And even to do that, I think you have to start with something small. And I think you said it earlier, something meaningful, right? And I think that we have and I've heard you say it. I think that we have these judgments that come from the world around us and social media about what is meaningful. We compare to ourselves. We compare ourselves to other people. If I'm not doing that, I'm not doing anything meaningful, and that keeps us from action.
Yes.
So if we as Karen Davis and other people say, if we have a bias towards action, I hear that in the work that you do, right? In this hidden gem work where you're helping people say, okay, you don't have to change your whole life.
Yes.
You don't have to have the baby and the job, and you don't have to do all of that at once.
Yes.
Let's get some clarity on what would be the most meaningful right now. I think that's actually a really nice, for those listening, like a really nice takeaway, because I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast have many ideas about what they want to do, especially if you are a creative or tapped into that in any way. You have so many ideas.
Yes.
I've seen it really change people's lives doing what you do. Is, when you say, okay, those are all great.
Yeah.
What if we just picked one? What if we just picked one and worked on it this week? And then people start to be in action, and then they start to feel that connection, that feeling of belonging, that those feelings that people are really after at the end of the day.
Totally.
What would you say?
Totally. So it's like, Mark, I'll give you an example. If I had a couple of ladies there, I would say beginning of 40, single mom, having 2 kids, and just to be a reasonable coach and talk reality here. If I know they are artists and they draw very nice, I'm not suggesting them to quit their engineering job. Why? Single mom, 2 kids in college or 2 kids in high school. They're taking care of the elderly. Their mom is with them, their parent, whatever. To be reasonable, I'm not telling you to quit your job.
Right.
Don't have that authority to tell you. But I asked them that question. I said, tell me when you are not working at the office, not taking care of the kids, what are you doing? Well, I just draw. Oh, show me what you draw. They show me. Really? And you've been hiding this? Yeah, it's okay. I've been doing this since I was high school. And this is how I know this is one of their core genius, because I asked them, when did you paint that, that art? They said 2 months ago, and I kept it in the basement. How long does it take you? I don't remember. And I said, when you go to that basement and look, I said, do you feel the time? No, that is your core genius. You're doing something, you don't feel the time and effort.
Yes.
And I have to knock the door and say, Mark, you've been in that room painting for 3 hours. Oh, really? It's been 3 hours? Why? It sounds like 3 minutes to me. It's feel like 3 minutes. You know why? Because that's your core genius. You didn't feel the time.
Yeah.
You didn't sweat. You were not even thirsty. You didn't even want to have a bottle of water, because that's your life. That's your baby. That's the only one good things you can do, not feeling the clock, not feeling anything. All the noise around you for some reason get muted, because you are deep dive. You are an artist, or you're doing Mandela, or you cooking, or you are writing a book. All handyman. There's a lot of men I met. They are engineer, but when I looked at the type of the furniture they make, I'm like, oh my God. I wanted to fight with my husband because he's not a handyman. And I see what they do around the house. I'm like, oh my God, you built that? Oh yeah, it's nothing. It's a weekend. No, it is something. You are a handyman. You are talented. You are talented. You just happen to be a civil engineer. But look at that closet you made, or that bookshelf you made for your daughter. That's can sell for thousands of dollars. It look like antique. It's okay. I just did it in the weekend. It's okay to you, but it's talent. And that's what I asked them. I said, please share it.
Yeah.
Don't leave this world without sharing what is your hidden gem is, because it's very valuable.
I have many thoughts on the idea of talent, but that aside, I can resonate with this idea of having a thing. What you described to me is kind of the question that I sometimes ask people is like, what are you doing when you're not doing anything? When you're not doing your life, what are you doing? Because that's when you're just being. When you're just being, when you're not dealing with the kids or your partner or your work or the handyman who you've had come to your house. When you're not doing those things, what are you doing? And let's ignore social media doom scrolling. Like, what are you doing? I love that. I really love what you said. Where is it that you lose track of time?
Yes.
That I'm stealing that. Like that is such a great key to passion. For me, it's something that really got in my way actually for a long time. When I turned I think when I turned 40, I got one of these, right? Like this is one of those multi-tools that you carry
Oh, okay.
like
Yeah,
like a total nerd on your
yeah.
belt, like a total dad nerd. Um, but I love to a fault, right? Like I love going around our house and seeing things and like, oh, maybe I can fix that. Like my daughter's bed, we can't sit on it without the things, the bars popping out.
Yeah.
And last night I was kind of looking at it, I'm like, what? Let me figure it out. And there's like a screw missing. So I took one of her pencils and instead of using a screw, I used, and that, it's like I could do that. I could do that all day. Um, the thing that starts to happen with me with like passions like that or coaching or writing or any of these sort of creative things is I started to feel like it was getting in the way. What because I wasn't, spending time doing that and I was losing time and quote unquote losing time. But what I was gaining was a sense of belonging with myself.
Yes.
And so when I come back to the work of my life, the coaching work, the creative work, I'm much more I don't know what other word to use, but I feel much more powerful. I feel more resilient. I feel like I've accomplished something. Spending time with my kids. My wife and I share, a lot of the responsibilities, but I do a lot of the sort of, day to day. I take my daughter to school. I do, I'll cook dinner. We share bedtimes, but I do a lot of the bedtimes. And there was a time when I felt frustrated by that because I'm supposed to be working. I'm supposed to be doing this other work, which I also love. It's great.
Yes.
But once I got into the idea that I also love that and my work is not my being. And when I end when my life ends, I don't want to look back and say, I did all the work I could. I want to say I did good work. I want to say I was a good partner. I want to say I was a good father. I want to say I fixed a bunch of stuff around the house. Yeah. Like all of these things are important to me.
Yes.
So,
and
go ahead.
I will just touch one thing you said because I don't want to forget the thought. You said about when you feel frustrated, sometimes when you do so much doing, coaching, art, job, father, partner, everything. And sometimes we all go through this. You feel like you want to reset and shut down. And let's say you take a break from coaching. I'm just giving you an example. Let's say I've done so many clients. I did a lot of workshop. I did 10 speaking gigs this year. I just this and that. I'm just going to take a break. And you know what? I made a lot of money. I'm not going to do coaching again. What is that coaching? Everybody became a coach. Now on the block, if you put my zip code, all my neighbors are coaches, right?
Yeah.
And then something. This is what is. It's happened in a purpose. While you are in break, you decided not to do coaching again, not working, and all by a sudden you open your email or your text and you see someone that you coach, someone who attended your workshop 2 years ago that you even forgot their first name and last name. They are thanking you. They are in tears. Appreciate every effort in changing their life. I said, please don't stop. You changed my life. Keep changing people's lives. And you're like, oh, I just decided not to do it again. And that's what is make you go back in the same time helping others. Because by the time you know that you help enough and you made the money and the impact and the change, and you want just to call it a day, I'm retiring, life is good, why I'm taking client, why I'm doing workshop, one thing's happened in front of you, telling you, please don't stop. You made such a difference on my life. Please continue doing it on others. And that's what's keeping us going.
Yeah. So you get called back to the work. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I wanted to ask you also, so you have a day job, you have this business working with midlife women and you have all these other skills and certifications and masters and all these other things. As you're building, I don't know if I would call it a side hustle because you're pretty well established, but as you're building this new business, and I think a lot of people who listen to this podcast are interested in building, with whatever skills they have, some kind of business. What is the most frustrating thing to you about building a business for yourself?
The beginning. It's so muddy. It's so muddy and hard because you question everything and you want a perfection. And my advice to all the people who want to start, just start. Too much planning will kill the idea. Too much planning is going to hurt you. Time is going so fast. The more I planning is good. You plan your Thanksgiving. You're not going to just throw Thanksgiving to 10 family without telling them.
Right.
The more you plan it, you're going to lose the sense and the flavor. You still have that. You said hustle, right? And I tell those people, say side hustle. I said, don't call it side hustle. Don't have that connotation about, there's no connotation about the pressure and the press on you. Call it the side heaven. Because you want that a place to be a refuge, the yoga place, the corner. Like me, when I write, I can stay in that room writing for hours. I don't feel anything. You have to remind me it's been 4 hours in the room because I keep writing. I don't feel anything. Same thing with your art, right? So it's not a hustle, it's a heaven. And the frustration coming from people, especially engineers, because everything is calculated. They want everything to be on the perfect time, perfect plan, perfect thing. This is not in math. This is a business. You're going to lose a lot of money before you gain a lot of money. You're going to have a lot of disappointment until you hear someone say, good job, you did good. You will hear a lot of critic. You will even hear a lot of bully. People will make fun of everything you do. Guess what? Those people who didn't take you seriously, one day will come, they will tell the universe they know you because they are trying so hard to get back to your circle. So by you calculating every critic, being upset about everything being said about you on Instagram, people don't take your art seriously, people don't take your writing seriously, then you are stagnant. You are parking in the same place. You are not moving on. You are not progressing. You are not growing. So the most frustration, it's the beginning. And to get out that frustration, I tell people just to start before you are ready. Take the action before you are ready. Because if you don't, guess what? A lot of people did already before you. You gotta keep up.
I could not agree more with that. I think I've heard that in other places. And I think for me, the key around starting before you're ready is in part that you're just never going to feel ready until you actually have done it for a little while, and then you'll feel ready.
Yes,
you have to do it. Like you said, you have to do it. You have to make mistakes and be willing to learn from them and say, okay, maybe now I'm ready. Now that I'm doing it.
And you are a coach. The more you do it, you become master. I mean, right? I mean, Michael Jordan and all those athletes, they were not overnight legend, right? They did a lot of failing steps until they become who they are. Same thing with the speaker, with the coaches, with the people who are owning company. I'm sure if you hear their stories, they lost a lot of money before they become known to the universe.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm really taking away from this conversation is just the idea that, if I'm, say, listening, to this podcast and I'm working, but I have some side passion, or maybe I don't even know what that passion is, just to really think about where do I lose time? Where is it that I get in that flow state?
Yes.
And how can I create either more space for that? And if I choose to, create, start building on that, maybe I create an audience, maybe I go to Instagram, maybe I do create a website. That is also one of the things that I tell people absolutely not to do. Don't wait till you build a website. Just go do the thing. Like with coaching, as you know, when you're, when you're starting, if you know how to build a website, sure, put up a website. But like you go to your friends, you go to your neighbors, you go to, you go to your family, you coach the people, and then you learn a lot from that experience. And then from there, you can start to say, okay, I actually do know how to do this and I'm ready to offer that on a bigger scale. And then, then you, at some point, like you have all of these past clients and background, you can start talking about it. But, talking about the comparison game, you can't compare somebody, some well-established, whatever it is you're trying to do, coach, artist, I don't care, like engineer, you can't compare yourself against someone else's well-established highlight reel to the intimate knowledge you have of your day-to-day. You also don't know what their day-to-day is like. They're also probably not talking about all their failures. So just this idea that, if anyone was going to, walk away from this podcast with anything, it's to take a minute and just think about where in your day today or this week, where did you lose time? Where did you just feel like you were in flow? And what, what, if anything, do you want to do with that? What do you want to create around that? I think that's beautiful.
Yes, you lose that time also, Mark, and also you feel your soul is speaking with your brain. You smile for no reason when you're doing your core genius. Your soul is just so alive. It's like a butterfly. And your brain and soul are just playing together. You are not just doing a job to get a paycheck. This is your baby. This is exactly, if I raise a baby, I'm raising this my business the same way I raise my son and my daughter. All my soul and brain on it. So my heart and my brain working together. It's not just the brain and the heart, because you need both of them, right? And I think for us to master anything, and you mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, I can love and be in love in something and passionate about something, but if I don't take the first step, don't even talk about it. Without action, nothing will happen. And the action comes from you, not from your coach, not from your partner. You have to take the action. And you stop complaining and whining that the time is not right. And when is the time is right? When is that time? I don't know. Where is it? It's now.
Yeah.
You know?
There's so much there. And I will say, I feel like I have to say, if you are feeling stuck around action, hiring a coach like you would probably help get you figuring out how to get past that. Speaking of which, see how good I'm so good at segues. Speaking of which, where can people find you? What's the best place to find you, and who should find you?
Well, Mark, this is not fair. You know why? Because if they listen to this and they look at your experience and mine, they will never call me.
I'm gonna post all your links on the show. You're very kind. I'm gonna post all your links on the show notes.
They will never come to me because they see how much skill you have. They say,
No, what they should see is how much I got out of listening to you. So they should.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So basically, if you want anything around the tech, career, leadership, technology, engineering, LinkedIn, and all of that, I'm in LinkedIn. Sairan Aqrawi is in LinkedIn. And if you want anything around building a small business in a side, on your Instagram with zero money, you don't need anything. All you need a phone and opening an Instagram account. You see me you find me on Instagram, Sairan Aqrawi. And if they mention your name, they will get 1 hour complimentary session.
Wow, that's very kind. Very kind. Thank you. Well, it has been awesome talking to you. I have some notes here that I think I have like a couple of articles that I thought of just from listening to you talk. So I hope the listeners got as much out of it as I did. Thank you so much for being here today.
My honor. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for listening. I know that I'm going to take away some great things from that podcast, including I'm going to go journal on what it is when I'm not doing my life and when I'm just being. How do I find flow, and what can I do to get more time for that? So look, if you like this podcast and you know one person who you think would enjoy or get something out of this episode, please send them a link. If you really liked it, please follow us on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, any place. And if you can, leave us 5 stars, write something nice. Everything that you do helps me do more of it and find great guests like Sairan. So thanks for listening, and I will see you on the other side.